tea and biscuits, rainy weather, and this, the Mini. Just like the other two on the list, the Mini is an institution within the DNA of British heritage. If cars were dogs, the Mini in its original form would be a dachshund or a sausage dog. Lively, playful, and somewhat courageous. This, however, is not its original form. What we have here is more in liking to say a pit bull. This is the special edition John Cooper Works, powered by Bayerische Motoren Werke, or as they are more commonly known, BMW. Combining the classic Mini shape with unique 17-inch alloy wheels, a sporty body kit and extra badges, the JCW stands out from the crowd. The retro inspiration isn't to everyone's tastes, but the detailing is spot on and there's tons of scope for personalisation. Under the hood, what we have here is a 4-cylinder 215 brake horsepower engine from BMW's 2-litre family, enabling the Works Cooper S to reach a top speed of 152 miles per hour. To put into perspective just how quick that is, that's only 3 less than a BMW M3. Generous amounts of boot space means there's ample opportunity for you to save your grocery shopping, or alternatively, if you're an acne carrying urban youth, it means you have all the space you need to fit a set of speakers or a subwoofer system. Perhaps one of the best things about this car is how it looks on the inside. Hand-stitched leather upholstery in a colour scheme matching the outer body. I really like how they kept the spirit of the original Mini within this more modern and contemporary design, and this is none more so apparent than with those big old-fashioned dials on the dash. It's also very roomy in here. It kind of feels bigger than it actually is. It really is a nice place to be. Comfortable, spacious. I like this. Now, before we take her out for a drive, I just want to hear what kind of wizardry the guys over at Bavaria have concocted underneath that hood. A small engine which packs a major punch. I change my mind, I stand corrected. This is no longer a pit bull. No, what this actually is a Jack Russell. Funny story about a Jack Russell. When I was actually 8 years old, I remember playing football in the park one summer, and there was this Jack Russell Terrier that just decided to invade our game for no reason. Me, being the idiot that I am, decided I would go over and try to reason with this small creature. What it then did was proceed to chase me around the actual park to the point where it actually caught up with me, jumped up and sunk its teeth into my jeans, precisely 2 inches away from my testes. This reminds me of that very same dog, full of attitude, raring to go. The engine sounds fast even in low rev ranges. It's incredible. The John Cooper Works is the performance flagship of the Mini hatchback range. It's a big leap up from the regular Cooper S, with more power, stiffer suspension and beefed up styling, making it the enthusiast choice. A raspy exhaust note, as you heard, with taut body control, as well as impressive grip and controls that stream with feedback, tick all the hot hatchback boxes. Now, one thing I will say, there are a couple of downsides here. The first is that it has a really firm ride. I think the suspension is a little bit too much geared towards track performance, but that's something that obviously can be tweaked. The real problem that I have is the price tag. that's something we're going to come on to later, but for now what I want to do is just enjoy thrashing this thing around the city like the street rat that it actually is. Ho 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 ho! Yes, yes, we are burning rubber in the middle of the street. Yes, man. Oh my gosh, honestly, I can't explain or describe the feeling right now. This car, what it does, it's a nuisance. It is a nuisance is what it is. It invites you to bring out the inner child, the inner 8-year-old. Honestly, it's no mistake and it's no secret that personally I don't really get on with front wheel drive cars, but the thing is, when you get that configuration and stuff it into a hot hatchback, the end result is a plethora of excitement, a pantomime on 4 wheels, which leaves you with what can only be described as a warm and fuzzy feeling in your jockstrap. Now, speaking of front wheel drive, we seem to have, as if by magic, conveniently turned up at a car park, which is an ample opportunity for me to show and demonstrate the fact that it's nigh on impossible to drift this thing. Not that you would, but nevertheless, this is just for the record. Now, as I was saying, another thing I like about this car is just how agile and nimble it is. Honestly, if you find yourself going down to your local Best Buy or Tesco or wherever it may be that you go and do your local shopping for whatever reason, if you find someone about to squeeze into a parking space and that's the only parking space available, I guarantee you the Cooper S has the ability to squeeze into any Bay Area at ridiculous entry speeds. Look how it takes these corners, so sharp. You can literally just steal someone's parking spot away from them. It's uncanny. Right, now to measure the straight line performance of the Works Cooper. It's quite simple. This is a runway, and at the end is a box to record our top speed. Right, traction control deactivated, first straight into second, and here we go, third gear, 50, 60, pushing all the way. Right, now an interesting thing about the Mini Cooper, well, John Works Mini Cooper to give it its full name, is for some strange reason, you get more performance from the automatic version than you do the actual manual. I was actually doing a little bit of research and I found out that the automatic gives out an extra, I believe it's 15 to 20 brake horsepower, which, to say the least, is most unusual and will not sit rightly with thoroughbred racers and drivers as such. Okay, and here we go, approaching the box at 138.9, as near as makes no difference, 139 miles per hour. Now, we won't know how good that is in the context of things until we put more cars through this test, but nevertheless, as I mentioned, this car can hit in excess of 150, but it looks like we would need more runway to achieve that. Now, obviously this car wasn't built with top end speed in mind. Where it thrives is short bursts of performance around city streets. So we're going to measure the acceleration over a short distance now. Here we go. Come on, Cooper, come on. 78.14, 78.14. Respectable. Very respectable indeed. And I suspect there are not many cars that will beat that time. And finally, we're going to test the stopping prowess of the John Works by accelerating from 0 to 100 and back down again, just to see how good these brakes really are. Here we go. ABS has been deactivated. Come on, let's see what you're made of. And 17.96, 17.96. Not bad going. So, it's quick, it's agile, it looks chic on the outside and even better on the inside. It's fun and fantastic to drive around town in. It even comes across as practical with plenty of legroom and boot space. But there are 23,500 reasons as to why I can't recommend this as a car you should buy. The main rival to the Works Mini is the Ford Fiesta ST. Now, looks wise, it's not as exciting, it's slightly less powerful, but most importantly, it's equally as fun to drive. And the base model only starts at around £12,500. And it gets worse. You see, I mentioned that the automatic version gives better performance. It's also actually more economical and manages more miles per gallon. And to grab the automatic version, which is the better version as I mentioned, you'd have to add money on top of that already ludicrous 23.5 grand. For that kind of money, I could get my hands on an Evo and still have change to go and roll snake eyes at the MGM Grand in a mink fur coat. Probably a pink one. Listen, I don't know about you, but I can't pay that kind of money for a car knowing I've got the bad apple of the bunch. Jeremy Clarkson said it best. When you pull up at the lights and you see the guy in the car next to you driving a Porsche Cayman rather than a 911, it's a very good sign that his life hasn't quite turned out the way he had planned. And that's the feeling I would get from buying the base model manual version of the Works Cooper. So, to conclude, the John Cooper Works Edition, a brilliant car, ruined by a stupid price tag. Idiots.